2:17 a.m. That's the exact moment global surveillance systems detected something unusual. A sudden launch, fast, silent, and unlike anything seen before, originating from a classified site operated by the United States Air Force. At first, it didn't trigger alarms because it didn't match any known missile signature. No conventional trajectory, no predictable speed, no identifiable pattern. Within seconds, early warning systems across multiple regions began flagging anomalies. Defense analysts scrambled to understand what they were seeing, but the data didn't make sense. This wasn't a test. This wasn't a routine deployment. This was something new, something that shouldn't exist, at least not yet. As intelligence reports started circulating, one conclusion became increasingly clear: this system was designed to bypass traditional defenses entirely. And more importantly, there may be no reliable way to stop it. For nations already locked in tension with the United States, especially Iran, this wasn't just another military development. It was a warning, a signal that the balance of power may have just shifted overnight. To understand why this moment matters, you have to look at the long and complicated history between the United States and Iran. For decades, these two nations have existed in a state of constant tension, never fully at war, but never truly at peace. Economic sanctions, political pressure, and military posturing have defined their relationship. Proxy conflicts across the Middle East have kept both sides engaged without direct confrontation. Moments of escalation have come dangerously close to open conflict. Naval encounters, drone incidents, missile strikes. Each time, the world held its breath, because both sides understand the stakes. Iran has invested heavily in asymmetric warfare missile systems, drones, and regional alliances designed to counter superior military power. The United States, on the other hand, maintains overwhelming technological and strategic dominance. This imbalance has created a fragile equilibrium. But that equilibrium depends on predictability. And now, with the emergence of something entirely new, something unpredictable, that balance is under threat. Because when one side introduces a capability the other cannot counter, deterrence begins to break down. The first signs didn't come from the battlefield. They came from space. Advanced surveillance satellites detected an unusual heat signature, brief, intense, and then gone. Moments later, radar systems began tracking an object moving at extreme speed. But something was wrong. Its flight path didn't follow traditional ballistic arcs. It maneuvered mid-flight, changing direction in ways conventional missiles cannot. That's when analysts realized this wasn't a standard launch. Global intelligence networks activated immediately. Data streams from multiple countries were cross-referenced in real time. Confusion quickly turned into concern, because no existing defense system was designed to track or intercept something like this. Within minutes, high-level alerts were issued. Military command centers began reassessing threat models, and across multiple regions, defense systems were placed on standby, not because they could stop it, but because they didn't know what else to do. So what exactly was launched? While official confirmation remains limited, analysts believe it could be a next-generation hypersonic glide vehicle or something even more advanced. Unlike traditional missiles, hypersonic systems travel at speeds exceeding Mach 5 while maintaining the ability to maneuver unpredictably. This makes them incredibly difficult to track and even harder to intercept. But this system appears to go further. Its trajectory suggests adaptive flight control, possibly assisted by artificial intelligence, allowing it to adjust in real time based on defensive responses. In simple terms, it doesn't just move fast, it thinks. Traditional missile defense systems rely on predicting a target's path. Interceptors are launched based on calculated trajectories. But if the target keeps changing direction, those calculations become useless. This creates a dangerous gap in defense capabilities, a gap that could render entire missile defense networks ineffective. And that's what makes this weapon so significant. It's not just faster or more powerful. It changes the rules of engagement entirely. If confirmed, this would represent one of the most significant leaps in military technology in decades. A system designed not just to strike, but to ensure that nothing can stop it. To understand where this technology matters most, you have to look at geography. Few regions are as strategically critical as the Middle East. At the center of it all lies the Strait of Hormuz, a narrow passage through which a significant portion of the world's oil supply flows. Control this choke point, and you influence global energy markets. Military presence in this region has always been intense, but introducing a near unstoppable weapon changes the equation completely. It allows for rapid, precise strikes against high-value targets, naval vessels, infrastructure, or missile sites without giving the opponent time to respond. For Iran, which relies heavily on controlling strategic choke points as leverage, this presents a serious challenge. Because dominance in this region has always depended on deterrence. And deterrence only works if both sides believe they can respond effectively. But if one side gains the ability to strike without interception, that balance disappears. Iran has spent years building a layered defense system designed to counter advanced threats. This includes radar networks, surface-to-air missile systems, and electronic warfare capabilities. Individually, these systems are effective. Together, they create a defensive shield. But that shield depends on one critical factor: predictability. Missiles that follow known trajectories can be tracked. Aircraft that emit detectable signatures can be targeted. But a maneuverable hypersonic system changes everything. Its speed reduces reaction time 2 seconds. Its unpredictability disrupts tracking systems. And its advanced design may even reduce detectability. This creates a scenario where existing defenses are not just challenged. They are bypassed entirely. For Iran, this represents a strategic dilemma. Investing in countermeasures takes time. But the threat is already here. And until a solution is developed, the balance remains tilted. History has shown that technological breakthroughs often lead to escalation, not because conflict is inevitable, but because uncertainty increases. When one side gains a clear advantage, the other is forced to respond. New weapons are developed. Military doctrines are updated. Tensions rise. But with hypersonic systems, the stakes are even higher. Decision-making windows shrink dramatically. Leaders may have only minutes or seconds to respond to a perceived threat. This increases the risk of miscalculation, a false alarm, a misunderstood signal, a delayed response. Any of these could trigger unintended consequences. And once escalation begins, it becomes difficult to control. This isn't just a regional issue, it's global. As news of the launch spreads, other major powers begin reassessing their own capabilities. Because if one nation successfully deploys this technology, others will follow. This could trigger a new arms race, one focused not on quantity, but on speed, precision, and survivability. Alliances may shift, defense budgets may increase, and global stability may become harder to maintain. Because in a world where reaction time is measured in seconds, mistakes become more dangerous. What we're witnessing may be the beginning of a new era in warfare, one defined by speed, automation, and unpredictability. Hypersonic systems could become the standard. AI-assisted targeting could reduce human decision-making, and unmanned platforms could dominate the battlefield. This changes not just how wars are fought, but how they are prevented. Because deterrence relies on balance, and balance is becoming harder to maintain. In the end, this isn't just about one launch. It's about what that launch represents. A shift. A transition into a new phase of global military competition, where technology moves faster than strategy, and where the line between defense and vulnerability becomes increasingly blurred. The question is no longer whether this technology will shape the future. It already has. The real question is, will it prevent conflict or make it inevitable?